Welcome back, everyone. We just got an announcement that Alexi Giulianis is running for mayor of Chicago. He's coming in with roughly $20 million in his war chest. We know that money is a big factor, but it's not a guarantee of winning a political office. But time will tell. We know that over time, he raised in his prior elections in 2006 for treasurer, he raised $5.5 million. In 2010, for his U.S. Senate seat that he lost, he raised $10 million. And in 2022, for the Secretary of State seat, he raised $10 million. He spent it all. But I want you to know that when he won his seat for Secretary of State in 2023, he continued to raise money. So this money you're looking at is not new money. He raised roughly $19 million in the last 3 years, and he raised an additional $3 million since the start of the 2026 calendar year. So don't be confused. Alexi political corporate team wants you to think that he raised over $20 million for his mayor's race. Not true. Full stop. Now let's look at his statement about money in politics.
I've never thought money wins elections. I'm very proud of the coalition of support that we built.
With a straight face, he lied to us that he never thought money wins elections. What does he take us for, fools? This is coming from a career politician who has raised over $45 million to date since he started his political career. Now let's see what he wants to do with our city assets.
System. We have the best libraries, public libraries in the country. We have this workforce. Climate change is happening. Everyone will tell you you're going to want to be in the Midwest somewhere over the next 25 to 50 years. So how do we sell our assets?
Sell our assets. Typical corporate elitist mindset. Does he want to privatize our libraries? Maybe privatize our schools and hand them over to private charter schools? Maybe do a Mayor Daley move and sell our Skyway and parking meters? He thinks CPS budget is bigger than the city of Chicago's budget. Not true. CPS's budget is around $10 billion, and the city of Chicago's budget is a little under $17 billion. He doesn't mention we spent over $2 billion on law enforcement. Here, watch this clip.
Down with you. I will talk to you. It's all hands on deck. Everything needs to be on the table. But CPS has some huge challenges. They have a budget deficit that's as large, if not larger, than the entire city of Chicago.
He is running for mayor of Chicago, and his election for Secretary of State is in November of 2026. He knows that he's not a shoo-in for the mayor's seat. That is why he's holding on to his Secretary of State position. Why not just resign from the Secretary of State, since you claim you love the city so much? Sounds like a spoiled brat to me. Wants everything for himself. But let's see what he thinks about his IQ.
The city needs. I don't want to be the smartest guy in the room when it comes to my team. I want to have really capable, experienced people.
You don't want to be the smartest guy in the room? That is exactly what we need. We need a competent leader. We have so many challenges that the city of Chicago faces. Gun violence, property taxes, environmental issues, poverty, lack of job opportunities, drug addictions. But yet you don't want to be the smartest person in the room. That means you're not qualified to run the third largest city in America. Now let's transition and see his thoughts on taxing the multi-million and billion-dollar corporations known as the head tax.
Where do you stand on a head tax? Is that a good idea?
I don't think it's a good idea.
Why?
Because we already have a difficult business climate.
This is not a business-friendly climate because the billionaire class who are running a monopoly in Chicago don't want to pay their fair taxes. Small business owners cannot compete with giant corporations. That leads them to close their doors. Think about J.B. Pritzker donated $1 million to Alexi when he ran for Secretary of State. The Pritzker family owns many hotels in Chicago. The Pritzkers would have paid a lot in corporate taxes if the head tax was approved. Let us not forget that J.B. Pritzker took the toilets out of his mansion. To save $330,000 in property taxes. This is corruption at the top state level. Let's go back to our privileged candidate. Alexi is not for the people. He is for these conglomerates that run the city because they don't pay taxes as we do. Yes, I do recall that 50 aldermen voted against the head tax. People, you need to find out where your aldermen are getting their money. And if you're not donating any money to your aldermen, guess what? They are getting their money from corporations. City council is bought and paid for by corporations. That is why they voted against Brandon Johnson's head tax. You don't hear that in corporate media stations. Now let's turn back to Alexi Giulianis and think what he thinks we should judge him on when it comes to his political record.
They'll look at your whole record. And so there were some issues in that race. Will they resurface, or do you think that that is old news, move on?
I'd say judge me on my record as Secretary of State.
Let's look at his record. Broadway Bank. Before entering politics, Alexi Giulianis worked as vice president and senior loan officer at his family's Broadway Bank. At one time, Broadway Bank was considered one of Chicago's successful community banks. Then came the housing collapse. The bank dramatically expanded its commercial real estate lending during the boom years. When the real estate market crashed, those loans suffered enormous losses. On April 23, 2010, state and federal regulators closed Broadway Bank, and the FDIC became the receiver. The failure ultimately cost the FDIC's deposit insurance fund roughly $394 million. That is not an opinion. That is documented in federal records. Do your research. After the bank failed, the FDIC sued several former directors and officers. The lawsuit alleged that bank leadership approved risky commercial real estate loans, ignored regulatory warnings, and failed to monitor lending practices adequately. Those allegations eventually resulted in a settlement. However, one important fact often gets overlooked. Alex Giulianis was not personally named as a defendant in the FDIC lawsuit. The lawsuit focused on other bank officers and directors, including his brother and other members of the bank's leadership. That distinction matters. It's hard to be objective, but I have my subjective views. Critics often mention the lawsuit, but the public should understand exactly who was sued and who was not. The Tony Resco connection, another controversy dealing with Broadway Bank, which made loans to Resco before he became one of Illinois' most notorious political corruption figures. Alexi has consistently maintained that he did not approve those loans and was not on the committee that authorized them. There has never been a criminal case establishing that Alexi personally committed wrongdoing regarding those loans. The next issue is Bright Start. As Illinois State Treasurer, Giulianis oversaw the state's Bright Start college savings program. During the 2008 financial crisis, many Illinois families watched their college savings decline dramatically after investments tied to Oppenheimer bond funds lost significant value. Thousands of families were affected. Critics argued that the Treasurer's office should have exercised stronger oversight over the investment manager. Supporters responded that nearly every financial institution in America was suffering enormous losses during the financial crisis. Illinois later negotiated settlements that required tens of millions of dollars for investors. Still, many families never fully recovered their losses. That debate continues today. Now let's fast forward. Since becoming Secretary of State in 2023, Giulianis has not been charged with corruption or accused of criminal misconduct. Instead, the criticism has centered on management. Many Illinois residents have complained about the DMV appointments, long wait times, and difficulty accessing services. Supporters argue that his office has modernized the Secretary of State's operations by expanding online services, improving cybersecurity, introducing electronic title processing, and strengthening fraud prevention. Whether those reforms have improved customer service depends largely on whom you ask. Who do you think should be the next mayor of Chicago? Drop your comments below and please share. Hit that notification bell and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.